Although we face unimaginable challenges during the year 2020, it's important that we deal with those residual effects. We deal with any traumas or situations that we had that were uprooted and triggered by the events of 2020. And we also understand that things didn't end on December 31st, 2020. So how do we cope and heal? Specifically, we're going to look at mental health and how our mental health has been affected by the many different things that have gone on. We have to understand the impact that these protests, riots, and times are having on the elderly community. Yes, of course, they're having an impact on us, but just think about in some cases where they have witnessed and fought their fight for years. Now they are revisiting some of these same things. I'm sure for them it brings about a lot of memories, and in some cases things that they never experienced or lived through their own lives. Racial injustices. Are we having these conversations with our elders, with those that we're caring for? Are we allowing them to share their own stories and personal experiences related to racial and cultural injustices? Let's talk about how we can work together to advocate, because everyone advocacy looks different, and collaborate with our elders and those who we care for. What do they see as their role and impact today? And how are they feeling about everything that's happening now? Let's have the conversations. Social isolation, social distancing, social disconnectedness. These are some of all the feelings that we experience related to COVID. As you can imagine, the majority of us have been feeling isolated. We're missing out on that human connection, which is so important to human survival. In fact, suicidal thoughts are higher right now amongst ages 18 to 24 years, according to the CDC, specifically related to minority, racial, and ethnic groups, Hispanic, Black, and other minority groups. There's also self-reported suicidal ideation among caregivers, those who are caring for adults. Also, these suicidal thoughts are amongst essential workers. As you're dealing with the struggle, know that there's hope. You're not in this alone. Males more than females, Blacks and Hispanics more than whites and Asians. Not only suicidal thoughts, but the anxiety, depression, are all feelings that we're experiencing. Most of our older adults have limited access or understanding of the internet and smartphones, and those who do may be declining physically or may be dependent upon others. Again, this is not everyone. This may be a group of individuals, but still in the midst of that, having difficulties with mobility or being able to access and navigate the internet can leave them in a very isolated place. For those, whether young or old, male or female, with a history of mental health concerns, we may be having to make a greater effort to improve our feelings of depression, isolation, anxiety, and trauma. And so it's important that we get the help that we need. We do offer on the CompassionateCarer.com some insight into how the effects of 2020 have affected us, specifically as it relates to mental health, and also some tips that can be utilized to help create those habits of self-care. Now, yes, we experience these different things, but what do we look for as it relates to depression, feelings of isolation? Whether a person shuts down or shuts themselves in their rooms, whether they may exhibit avoidance by being connected to different devices or the television, or not engage in things that they once enjoyed. So how do we cope with everything that's taking place? We got to normalize our feelings, understanding that those feelings of anxiety, of depression, of feelings of isolation, it's normal because all of us are going through this. And it's something that can be handled. We can get a hold of it. We can get help for it. How are you talking to yourself? Self-talk and affirmations are going to be very important. Are you being kind to yourself? What do you think about yourself in the midst of everything that's taking place? You're doing your best. You're trying. You're trying to adjust. You're trying to pivot in spite of everything that's going on. So how are you talking and treating yourself? Find ways to connect creatively. whether it's via instant messaging or video platforms or talking on the phone. You gotta find ways to stay connected to those that we love. At the end of this, your mental health is important. Your mental health matters. So those mental health check-ins are going to be very important. Self-care and mental rejuvenation is more important now than ever. We were normally able to take breaks, go on vacation, just allow friends and family to come over and gather, no matter how small or how large the groups, and just be able to feel that physical touch from family and friends. This has stopped, and we've been forced to work with minimal time off because increased demand in different things, whether you're in the healthcare field, whether you're in education, there's an increased demand on things. So we're not able to take time off, and we're having to take additional precautions, and we're also having a lot more to worry about, whereas a simple grocery store visit now requires gloves, wipes, hand sanitizers, alcohols, and masks. Self-care is going to be so important. It allows you to take care of yourself first so that you can take care of others. Self-care is taking care of yourself so that you can help and assist others. I saw a post a few days ago that said, self-love is I love you, and self-care says prove it. And I couldn't agree more. So I say to you, deal with those toxic thoughts in relationships. Get the therapy, set boundaries, heal your trauma. Do whatever it takes to make sure that you are showing up and that you're being your greatest self. Because remember, you can't pour from an empty or broken cup. Thank you.